the dreaded over the top move. So what would it look like? So when we get to the top of the backswing, this golf club works out this way and works out left. So it generally look like this. And for me, people that have that over the top move would generally struggle with pull shots, slices, ultimately struggling to get a nice contact every single time. So overall consistency. So let's talk about a drill and a feeling that we can take through from the irons into the driver on the course and on the range. Because it's very important. I think if you're someone that's over the top move, I think it's a realistic thing to say, it's not going to change overnight. It needs a little bit of work, a little bit of practice, but if we can give you the means to do that, then we're going to start improving our golf. So as we highlighted before, and I generally see this move happen quite a lot, we'd swing this golf club to the top, and over the top move we'll be pulling down on these handle, the hips and the shoulders would move on the same rate, and this right shoulder would work out over the golf ball. So we'd sort of see this motion. So the feeling I want you to create is the complete opposite. Now, before we go a little bit further here, we've got to understand, if we're going to shallow this club, so become less over the top, we've got to realise if we're doing so, we've got to strengthen the face as we do it, because if we then shallow the golf club, we actually affect the path the golf club could travel on as well. Because generally, if we shallow this club, we'll be a little bit more into out or closer to neutral, and we don't want to have an open face there, because then we're going to hit those push shots or those push slices, and ultimately we're probably going to be a little bit more dissatisfied than when we were pulling those shots. So it's very important that we understand that if we're shallowing the club, we've got to strengthen the face. So the feeling we want to create is, number one, instead of the shoulder working out and the hips working at the same time, let's talk about how we can sequence the body, so from the ground up and the shoulder working slightly different to allow us to actually tap this ball more from the inside, but ultimately stop this over the top move. So the move we're looking for, point number one, swinging this golf club to the top. The feeling we're going to look for, we start from the ground up, so we start from the lower half, as in the lower half works and belt buckle works more down towards the target. And as we do this now, I want you to feel as though your right shoulder works down into the ground as opposed to over towards the golf ball. Let me show you again. To the top, open up the hips, belt buckle towards the target, shoulder down towards the ground, as opposed to shoulder working over the top. And I think it's a really nice simple way and a simple expression in order to work to that you can actually apply to the driver and the iron. So let's show you one more time. The feeling we want to create is to the top, and this is over exaggerated, not. So start from the ground up. Let's hit a shot now with this iron. So again, we're feeling open up the hips, the shoulder works down to the ground, so a little bit more right tilt. So a little bit like that. So it's a really nice shot there. So we actually worked, felt like my shoulder was actually working down towards the ground and my hips are opening up instead of over towards the golf ball. And again, I want to repeat myself here, this is an over exaggerated feeling, but it's something I hope you could apply to the driver and the iron. So what is it technically that we need to do in the downswing to stop coming over the top? I think it's good to kind of have this background and knowledge so we can apply it and understand why. Because yes, okay, we got a feeling that we could swing now to the top of the golf swing, create the opposite feeling, not, but lower half and upper half moving together, and we could probably hit some good shots. But why are we doing that? So what is the nooks and crannies of the downswing we want to see? So let's wind it to the top now again. In the feeling now, we want to feel as though in transition we start from the lower, then the upper follows, and as we do so we can see my right shoulder's working down towards the golf ball, and we've got to feel now as though we're strengthening the face to do this. Now again, this is an over exaggerated feeling, and this is something I will just be aware of what we want to do. So to the top, feel that we're strengthening the face. So as I come down to last parallel now, you can see that my hips open to the target, my shoulders are now parallel to my feet line or my ball's target line, and my lead wrist is flat. I'm not doing this position now, and my lead wrist is cooked because it leads to us having an open face and that dreaded push slice what we talked about. Want to feel now in transition, we keep that lead wrist flat. Keep that lead wrist flat. We don't cup it. We keep that lead wrist flat, and then we can push through and rotate round to the target. And it's important just to have that basic understanding knowledge of if we're shallowing the club, stopping the over the top move, we've really got to strengthen that face. Otherwise, we could potentially miss more shots off to the right. So let's hit one more with iron, and let's get into that driver and show you a few with driver. So again, the feeling on the range, I want you to feel on the course as well. right shoulder works more down behind me, and we strengthen that face. As opposed to upper and lower working together, right shoulder works out towards the golf ball. This is the way. Again, a really nice shot there. Let's get into driver and let's see if we can do the same thing with driver. So we know what the feeling is. We've hit the few with the 7-iron. Let's do it with driver. So again, little rehearsal to the top, and let's allow this club to feel like it shallows a little bit more, and we attack this ball a little bit more from the inside and not stop seeing that dreaded over the top move. So here we go. One more waggle. Again, a really nice shot and a really nice balanced shot. And I often find when people actually stop coming over the top, we actually become a little bit more balanced, because generally when I see this over the top move, I see a lot of people fall towards the ball. Whereas now if the club's swinging a little more balanced, a little bit more its own balance and weight, so a little bit more on plane, we would start to see a little bit more of a balanced finish. So that's probably another good point to think of. If I'm now working towards a balanced finish, has this golf club worked a little bit more efficiently? So again, last final reminder here, this is the same feeling for driver and irons, not the lower and upper working together. We want to start from the ground up and feel like this right shoulder, feel like it works more down towards the ground. Again, over exaggerated, more down towards the ground and behind you, not out in front of you. So we'd feel this move. So there you go, nice simple feelings we can take with driver and irons straight out onto the golf course. And yeah, I would definitely recommend hitting a few on the range to begin with, because it will feel a little bit alien, a little bit of a foreign move. But don't forget to subscribe, give me a thumbs up, and see you next time on Alex Elliott Golf.